Hi guys! What the hell did I just watch? Originally, this was going to be a series finale reaction to Stranger Things, but after volume 2 dropped and I realized the trajectory of the writing and the direction it was going, I figured, why sit here watching me watch Schnapp when we can discuss Schnapp? And I want to preface this is a video not just about Byler, because so much was going on and so much was going wrong. I've composed 7 pages having to do with everything else, and we're going to start the video by talking about all of those things, and then yes, the second half of the video will be Byler specific, and I'll put the timestamps up of those right now for anyone who's only interested in one or the other. TLDR, it flops across the board. It brings me literally no joy to be sat here today. Because I had such high hopes going into this thing, and now I'm making a video about how catastrophically lazy it has become. When I last left you, we had just finished volume 1 with Sorcerer, and not written by the Duffelbag brothers, by the way. But following the release of the 3 episodes after that, season 5 quickly became the worst rated season of the entire show, with episode 7, the penultimate episode to the entire series, being the worst rated episode of the entire show. My brother in Christ, that is not a good sign. On December 26th, the Duffer brothers announced that they had turned in the finale less than a week prior, as they said, yanked away. And someone commented about Byler post volume 2 on my last video asking for support and for help, and I said, I fear the Duffer brothers don't give a fuck. And they didn't. So let's get into it. Like the Game of Thrones cast, the Stranger Things cast also sort of warned us when asked about their reactions to their endings for the show.
That's bold.
I love your face.
What does it mean to be happy? Really?
Yeah, it's I hope the audience
I think you guys are better writers than that.
And it was looking so bad already that a petition went viral. This petition was basically for the Duffers to release the uncut footage from this season. Now they did say that they filmed 560 hours of footage, and later went on to say there are no extra scenes and that they didn't cut anything. But not before that petition went viral, amassing over 350,000 signatures in 2 days. That's more than the Release the Snyder Cut petition. And I bring up the cut footage not to say it's necessarily true, but to say that the story felt so suddenly disconnected and disjointed from itself that people genuinely believed the creators were hiding material from us. Simultaneously, and this leaked into after the fact when the finale was dropped, a theory was going viral that Vecna was breaking the fourth wall, basically taking control of the viewer's mind. And that was basically because there were so many plot holes and continuity errors that people genuinely believed it was part of Vecna's larger play, and that he was tricking the characters and audience by using his mind powers to put us in a dream. Because look at because it makes no sense. Of course, it can't be real. And that's why after the finale it turned into, oh my god, there's a secret final episode. Well, of course, there's a secret final episode because that finale was so bad and made so little sense that it has to be part of his plan. And that theory went so viral that dead ass, January 7th, a week after the finale, the fake finale, so many people logged on to Netflix expecting a secret final episode that they crashed the website. The sick irony being, I started this whole thing, literally one of the first things I said was that I have not felt this insane since BBC's Sherlock. And because I was there for BBC Sherlock, I was there for the famous secret episode. Fans also entered mass psychosis expecting a twist secret episode. It didn't exist. Which is why when I say I have played these games before. Hi, it's me from later in the video. I'm actually really glad I rage quit and waited to film this part, because since then the documentary on season 5 has dropped. Not only did the Duffer brothers go into production for season 5 without having written the finale, but also they were actively filming and shooting episodes that they had not finished yet.
I've never read a script, and we're just shooting it. I've never done anything like this anymore.
In retrospect, no wonder everything felt so disconnected. Even your cast and down to the performances, because nobody knew what was going on.
We're running into this shot, like already having seen her. We're running away.
I figured out somewhere around episode 7 that, oh, oh, I think actually the Duffer Brothers are not good right now. But doesn't it say something kind of sad that people across the world are so desperate for a story that means something that they would enter mass psychosis believing you to be like a next level fourth wall breaking genius. There is so little meaning to anything else and so little meaning to all of the art that's being fucking pumped out these days that people will look for it anywhere. Duffer Brothers, that is not good. And neither is the fact that you're announcing your Stranger Things spin-off series. Spin-off series about The Rock. Whoa. Take my hand. No one cares. Yeah. Actually, hey, no one gives a single fuck. You're tanking your show. Guys, I know this is actual shit from a butt, but the spin-off about The Rock, they are going to beat this franchise into the f***ing ground, just like everything else. I wish I could go back in time, shake myself. This series was only ever supposed to be 1 season, 2 max, and that's really evident watching this final season. Anyway, we're gonna take this brief point by point, no particular order. I can't believe I'm gonna have to rewatch this. Like, I'm so sad. And I apologize in advance for how long this video takes to get out because 1, I really don't want to make it, and 2, believe it or not, I am employed. Like full time. I know, it's pretty fucking great. Number 1, what the fuck did they do to Elle's storyline? And Collie's. I thought when Collie joined the narrative that we'd be getting some great sister content, but instead it's 3 episodes of Collie trying to convince Jane to kill herself, and Jane coming to terms with that.
The whole episode has to be building towards 11 is gonna kill herself.
Like, if we're trying to sell it as she's gonna kill herself, and then she killed herself.
Yeah. You have to keep toying with the audience because I think what works in 7 is this, like, oh my gosh. Like, is she really gonna go through with this? And it's what everyone's gonna keep expecting.
We think she's made the choice to live.
I don't know.
Just kidding, she hasn't.
Was I supposed to be excited by that storyline? I was mad as fuck. I still am. Because of all the characters, you finally kill someone. I literally made a video 4 years ago talking about the fact that these Duffer Brothers refuse to kill anyone like significant and important to the plot. You wait till the last second when it has the least narrative consequence to the rest of the show. And it's the little girl robbed of her whole childhood trying to escape her cycle of abuse.
Bruh.
This is the lesson we should take from this, guys. If you're trying to escape a cycle of abuse, there's an easy way out. Just yourself. Between her and Will, when you put the misogynistic fries on the homophobic burger, she's still arguing with Hopper about trying to kill himself, while she's also actively trying to kill herself. What are we doing, bro? And if I said literally nobody deserved a happy ending more than her, I would have been happy with anyone else. But no, they says it's realistic. It's the most realistic, so. I just think it's really curious and interesting where the Duffer Brothers decide they need to have realism as opposed to the giant gaping plot holes they couldn't care less about. As for fans of Mike and 11, number 3, what were they doing with that? In volume 1, I timed this, just over 2 minutes of shared screen time. It was to the point that people were theorizing that they'd broken up. And the scenes where they do talk, it's all, when Will has a feeling, that means something. And when this is all over, you and me and Dustin and Lucas and Will, we're all gonna move away together. And our story starts with finding Will. We're so bad. I could have and would have been able to root for this ship if they hadn't spent seasons 4 through 5 decimating it. And in retrospect, what the fuck was the reason for that? I thought it was because Mike was gay, not because he was evil. In season 3, Mike is like, stop treating her like a weapon, like she's a person, I can't lose her and I love her. And season 5, he's like, he literally says, charge that battery. Like, he's looking for Will and she can't do it, and he's like, charge that battery, girl, eat some snacks. I'll be 20 feet away from you on the other side of the room. But charge that battery, gotta find Will. Then come the finale, suddenly they're so in love and they can't stay away from each other suddenly, out of nowhere. And Eleven's death is reduced singularly to what that means for Mike. She's reduced in her final moments to girlfriend and boyfriend. There's no, like, the disregard for Hopper and Joyce and Will, her brother, and her friendships. Don't speak to me. Don't call me. I was gagged. Parenthetical, not in the good way. She says he's the only person who ever understood her, despite that being the literal opposite of what they've shown us the last 2 seasons. Roll the tapes.
She's lying to you, Mike. Bullshit. No, listen to me. You just don't really understand.
What did you do? What did you do?
What have you done? What have you done?
You were rolling your eyes, you were moping, you were barely talking, you basically sabotaged the whole day. She was lying to you, Mike.
She didn't look fine. I know what it's like.
No, you don't.
Because women act on emotion and not logic.
From Mike.
Mike? Mike, what?
And despite Millie herself saying that the only two people she feels ever understood 11 were Collie, Dead, and Will, never really explored.
Or at least people that entirely understand what she's been through. And one of those people honestly being Will. And not even Mike truly understands what she's been through. So I think Will and Carly are the two kind of people that know that trauma.
So great. And then he still can't say he loves her. As she dies. And the only time Mike Wheeler's ever able to say the words "I love you" to his girlfriend is when he's gaslit by his best friend. Gives him the painting, telling him it was all about Mike, it was from her.
It was from your gay best friend who's in love with you.
And then he needed Will stroking his back saying, "Mike, you're the heart. Keep going, don't stop."
Hello?
Like literally she's dying and he can't say it back. In his imagination. So what was the point of season 4? Also, right, and then in a dumb interview after the show aired, the Duffers confirmed that whole Mindscape scene with him and her is not real. Never happened. And we're supposed to have gotten that because basically in the graduation scene when he hears the speakers going off, the frequency, it brings him back to that night and he realizes, oh my god, the military, they were playing their like sound suppressant frequencies to stop 11 from being able to use her powers. Meaning she couldn't have been using her powers, meaning that scene never happened and he made it up, meaning canonically, well, Mike Wheeler's schizophrenic. And to any of you, no, she's not dead. I believe, sorry. I'm so sorry. Now, look, the thing is that they wrote so many plot holes into that scene that there is no way she isn't dead.
I think she's dead. I don't know. I think it's just like a coping thing.
And obviously it's a Mike cope. And they left it ambiguous on purpose in case they want to come back to it years later if they need the money. You're not supposed to say that out loud. Mind you, this whole hallucination, they're doing the flashbacks of Mike and 11 with Prince's Purple Rain. You know who's there? You know who's there in the fucking shot because he's always there.
No, Schnapp's still in the car buckled in. Oh my god!
The big reveal!
You're in the shot, Noah!
Noah,
you're out of focus!
Noah, you're in the shot.
Will continues to haunt their narrative because you ingrained him into it. Even in the credits, the screen cap drawing of Mike and 11, they had to quite literally remove Will from the shot and erase him from the background. I need to get drunk. Number 4, why is everyone fucking dilly-dallying, I say? Max seemingly learns nothing from her almost escape the first time through Portal, but then when she gets there with Holly, there's this huge monologue with zero urgency, with Sadie Sink after the fact coming on Jimmy Fallon saying that it was stupid to her too, that she wasn't given the proper direction to know that she should have that sense of urgency in this scene. If only that was like someone's job. It felt like one of those scenes where they're like, yeah, this is gonna pull some tears out of the crowd for sure. And I'm just sitting there like, move your fucking bitch ass through the whole season. Will dilly-dallies, Vecna dilly-dallies, the kids group all dilly-dallies, Steve and Dustin dilly-dally. And number 5 on that, I don't like that it became the Steve and Dustin show. Wait before you kill me. I love the Steve and Dustin dynamic, obviously. But we'd yet to ever resolve that arc of his grief with his actual best friends. Will, Mike, and Lucas, who are involved in that arc with him in episode 1 of the season. Never again. Once they figured out people like Steve and Dustin, they carried Dustin's narrative separate from the core 4 for basically 3 seasons in a row, sidelining him from the original party. And that arc and his trauma never gets addressed with him and those friends. To me, it just felt like a huge disservice to those friendships. The friendships, mind you, that made this show what it was. They should have had more time together. Number 6, Nancy and Jonathan. How did I lose both Bylers? And to such slop. The piss-offery of reducing Jonathan and Nancy's whole relationship to just a trauma bond. It's like the writers don't remember what they've written. You want to talk about a couple that was founded on a trauma bond and that doesn't have anything in common outside of that fact? Mike and 11 makes way more sense. And their breakup scene was so terribly written that the Duffer Brothers had to come online next day and say, hey, actually that was not them talking about and fixing the things. I clued into that, read the trauma bond comment, but I see why it was confusing because it was sandwiched within some of the only emotion that's shown this entire season. They're saying they love each other, they shut down the Steve thing real quick. It seems like even Charlie and Natalia were confused by the tone.
You know, having last season where they weren't together, coming back and having a scene like that was really nice for our characters.
To finish them here and to dilute their whole story in that way, right at the end. Stancy Bones, Jancy Bones, Malevolent Bones, Byler Bones. Pay off any of your arcs challenge. Pay off any of your arcs. Are you aware that you wrote a 2 to 3 season long love triangle with 2 separate sets of couples and you nuked all of them? Like, have you ever rewatched your show? Oh wait, no, you haven't, and you specifically said so yourself.
I don't remember, and I don't sit down and rewatch my seasons. I don't know last time I saw season 2.
The fact that I know their show better than them is actually embarrassing. Not just because I'm the idiot who watched Stranger Things like 8 times through, but also because of how little of a fuck they ever gave. If you have to come online and explain to your fans what just happened in a scene, write it better, because that's not good. And it's also not the first time it happened. It happened so many... Number 5, and this is all going under one point, is just the ridiculous number of implausible plot holes. Mind you, I always try to give in fantasy and sci-fi stuff like this a pass, or even a couple passes. It's the fact that there are so many. Like this cornball scene with Karen rising from her literal deathbed and then secretly exploding the Demogorgons. And also the Demogorgons don't hear Lucas's music. Hey. There's no fucking way. Lucas stops a Demogorgon from killing him and Max in the elevator by doing nothing. I mean, he taps it with his foot. These things have obliterated whole army. Literally 2 episodes ago, they ate and destroyed a whole army. Yeah, but Lucas touched it with his foot, and that kind of hurt its head, sure. Why doesn't Max bring up the fact that Henry had history with Joyce? Or Joyce herself. Earth 2 Duffer Brothers, are you aware that you actually wrote a whole play about this? Why does Vecna specifically target 11 all through seasons 3 and 4 just to suddenly not give a shit in season 5? Also, what was this scene?
All this time, we've been building it. We've been building it for you.
They're also completely inconsistent with 11 and the strength of her powers through varying points in the season. Oh, and then the mystery goop that kills literally every unnamed side character ever, but spares singularly Nancy and Jonathan, the main characters, who it spares for no reason. There are no stakes when you take no chances, which was the whole basis for the critique I made of the show years ago. I thought we were moving on from safe writing, but it turns out we were going complete opposite direction. Oh, and you thought I was done? Why can everyone just stroll through the toxically polluted upside down now? The vines that are connected to the hive mind in season 4, they make a big deal of saying that they're connected to the hive, and it's all connected to Vecna. And then in this season, they have literally no effect. Okay? The demo bats that kill Eddie, fan favorite Eddie Munson in season 4, they're gone. It's off season in the upside down. I'm laughing, but I want to cry. Eddie Munson fans, I am so sorry, because that really was just for nothing. Vecna's Demogorgons, which canonically source from this dimension, all vanish in the finale. They're all gone. There isn't one Demogorgon in the place that they live in.
There have to be some monsters in the abyss.
I agree.
There has to be Demogorgon, bat. It's crazy if there's nothing there, I think.
The Duffers' justification for this was, well, Vecna didn't expect them to come. What? All-seeing, all-knowing, omnipotent Vecna, who can spy through anyone, who has possession of will, with the high mind connected to everything. Even if that wasn't a piece of shit explanation, so like the Demogorgons are just on holiday, did they read your script and leave? Why the stress on November 6th, the day Will was taken? Why is time also frozen on that day?
How significant is it that it's been frozen in time from the day that Will got taken?
Very significant. That moment where they realize it's frozen in time really is a huge part of season 5.
Will and Henry's birthdays. They're on the same day. That was supposed to be a big deal. It's never explained ever. Joyce forgets Will's age this season, and also nobody remembers that it was his birthday in the Rinkomania episode in season 4.
We've multiple documents they sent us of every important date, so we'll never make this mistake again.
I thought this was a huge part of this birthday gate theory that was like, oh, Vecna was going to be using Will, wiping Will from the storyline, and that's why there were so many cases of them forgetting things about Will. No, they just didn't care. Why did Billy and Will need to have the Mind Flayer burned out of them when the 12 kids from this season and they're fine? I don't know. I don't care. They said, I don't care. Stop asking me about my show that I wrote. They establish, oh, this is probably the one that annoys me the most. They establish that Henry cannot be hurt without also hurting Will. This has been not just a season-long thing, but a series arc-wide progression. That the Upside Down is connected to Will. You cannot shut it off without also injuring and or killing Will. But then when they injure and kill Henry, absolutely none of that has any effect on Will. 2 episodes ago it did. The whole rest of the show it did. The Duffers' reasoning for this, just like we wanted that moment to be about the heroes of the show. If the Mind Flayer likes it cold, why is Dimension X a massive desert? And why does it matter that Vecna needed 12 children? Well, the Duffer brothers have an answer. They said, I don't know. They say, I don't know. Could we... Why were Eleven and Mike not clearly written as love interests? I'll get to that. Why do Karen's massive scars disappear in the last scene? And why do the characters face no consequence for their murder of the military? For all your talk of realism, Hopper would never be chief. Fucking Nancy Wheeler, you are in prison. Sorry. Why was Will, quote, chosen by Vecna? The shadow monster, the formless entity of the Mind Flayer, is now a fleshy monster. A flesh monster that can be killed with bullets, even though literally Vecna and the Demogorgons are immune to that. Number 6, keeping every character alive because you're too afraid to kill them, but then simultaneously nuking the character storylines of the people that you're keeping alive. I would rather you murder. I would rather they kill Jonathan and Nancy. I say that with love. Michael Wheeler, you're dead. And it's because I'm saving you from that fuck-ass ending. You're welcome. Murray, you need to die. Hopper, it should have been season 3. You should have been dead. Ted Wheeler, death. And if I could do it multiple times, I would. Even Steve, boomy. I'm so desperate to feel something, and he's not making me feel anything anymore. His ending is boring. His character arc this whole season, boring. And that fake out death scene in the finale with the cut to black, the long extended cut to black. Oh my god, it feels, and I mean this in the most derogatory way possible, it feels so Phase 4 Marvel. The Duffer Brothers literally admitted the only reason Steve's there is because they like Joe Keery. I love Joe Keery. I love Joe Keery. Kill him. Kill him. Even Will, my bestest boy, he is attached to Vecna's life force. Even if you're gonna do a Horcrux moment, you're gonna do a he's coming back to life moment. It makes no sense. He should have been dead. Number 7, why does Holly Wheeler have more screen time than the rest of the main cast? Don't get me wrong, the plot with the kids was interesting. To me, it was far more interesting than the Russia thing they were doing in season 4. Like the Russia thing from season 4, it goes on way too long. By making her suddenly the main character, you sideline everyone else. And it's like, girl, I just met you. The other series regulars should have at least been treated as equally important to that, but they're not. Either cutting down on the excessive yapping or adding a 9th episode like you did in season 4 could have saved you from that. Speaking of which, where's Joyce? Where's Joyce? Remember when this whole season was built off Winona Ryder's back?
I am in, I think, Stranger Things 5.
Remember when Mike was the main character? Like, I'm tired. Number 8, what the fuck happened in the plot substantially? Volume 2 compared to Volume 1. Max escapes. More secrets about the Upside Down revealed. They end episode 4 on a hook of Will getting superpowers, and then immediately they put him to sleep. Yeah, Oh, I'm so mad I can't speak. You had just struck gold. I can't stop laughing. I sat here confidently saying, 5 hours, guys, we got 5 whole hours of screen time, that's plenty. Number 9, the acting. Like, and know when I say this, that to me, Millie has single-handedly carried all through seasons 1 through 4. She's been the backbone of the show and of these stellar performances. But this season, I struggled to read her and to understand what was going on in her head. Like in this scene where she talks to Mike, what emotion is she supposed to be conveying in this moment? And Finn, okay, wait, Finn's a great actor. I've seen him in other projects. He's also an incredible musician. But that one scene in the finale, then like, why can't he touch her? You know, it's funny. Mike Wheeler touches girls the same way that Will Byers touches girls, in that it's palms flat and a foot away. And like, in the behind the scenes of this scene that they're filming, he's like, they're hugging, they're so close, they're so adorable, Millie and Finn are so cute, they have excellent chemistry. The whole acting thing in regards to every character who has, that could just be the terrible writing and direction. I wanted to say that because it very well could be. Jamie Bauer, this doesn't involve you. Number 10, I said, what's happening with Henry and Vecna? If I had to hear this bitch say, it's time, one more time, I feel like they nerfed the hell out of Vecna even near the end of season 4. He gets stuck at the cave of forbidden memories. Ooh. The whole season, he's cooking up a plan. He's thinking about something. He's coming up with something. He's walking. Show us his past, bruh. Do anything. Hey, once again, you actually wrote an entire play that's really good about his past. Or you could just disregard it completely because what people really want to know about is the walk. At the point in the show where there were 2 hours left, one of which was just that fat epilogue, we still didn't know the truth to his past. I felt like that should have been done already, and if we knew that lore going into the last episode, it would have set up the plot progression and stakes up much better. Because by that point, I didn't even care. Why are you giving me villain lore 10 minutes before you're killing him? And then they kill him in 6 minutes. Will Byers' coming out scene, the famously viral because it's so bad coming out scene, they actually killed the mind flayer faster than that scene was. I say this as Will Byers' #1 defender of all time. That is ridiculous. What a joke of a final epic battle. Anytime I stop talking and stop laughing, I actually just think about how bad it was and I enter a state of depression. Like, I'm filming this over a week after it aired because I can't believe how bad. Number 11, some of the dialogue is poop from a butt. It's poop from 2 butts. For example, this scene, I'm so sorry if it's funny to you.
It's too big, it's not gonna fit.
Steve hears that all the time and he goes in anyway, don't you, Steve?
I did not move. They don't think Robin is being literal about her and Steve with this comment.
You took out that demo with your mind?
I mean, 3 to be exact.
Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit.
We're going in there. We're going in there.
And I know this show loves to have characters finish each other's sentences and to have a little eureka moment. There's like 6 or 7. There's like 6 or 7 of those eureka moments. Number 12. Telling and not showing. Instead of seeing the horrendous visions that Vecna planted in Will's mind that make him feel like he's forced to come out, he just tells us that it happens. But what did he see? I don't know. I guess we didn't have that in our $480 million budget, now did we? That's half of $1 billion. Half of $1 billion, and this is what the show looks like. 11 jumping her way up through Dimension X. No, that wouldn't have been really cool and epic and awesome to see. No one wants to see that. Number 13, once more with the lackluster emotional payoffs, the 11 Max reunion. I ride or die for L Max, which is why, if you'll excuse me for just 1 second. Are they friends? Are they? Would you believe that 11 restarted Max's dead heart with the power of her love? Also never explained ever. At the end of season 4, based on this scene. This was so dry, and we waited years for it. No, and I do feel better. Max, remember when you went into your coma and Hopper was dead? And now you're waking up and he's right there? And Mike, this is actually the only emote we get from Mike the whole volume. Everybody clap! Yay! Yay, good job, Mike! Will reuniting with Max was far more emotional. And that's hilarious because maybe they've had like 2 seconds of screen time before. Like, what are we doing? Max was the character that taught 11 that she was more than Mike and more than Hopper. To find herself and find what she likes and what fulfills her own happiness and sense of identity. It's what we get from her and Max. That's what we get on their relationship. Number 14 was the new drop of upside down lore right at the end. The upside down guys, we were wrong. We were wrong about it all along. The pee-pee poo-poo matter. I don't care. I don't care. In the words of Steve Harrington, I don't care about Tina. Especially when it's one of those plots that you know damn well watching it that it was not some grand scheme they'd planned all along from the beginning. No, you're just fucking saying shit now. I'm not saying it couldn't have been cool. I'm just saying that there was already so much going on. Your plot was already conflated with lore and things to address which never get addressed, and you're dropping in more stuff. Audiences largely agree that the earlier seasons, especially season 1, are the best. And I think that kind of proves that the story appealed more to people when it was a small town mystery about a mom trying to find her missing son, not Voldemort trying to warp together the space and time continuum against an Avengers-sized ensemble cast. Like, comparing this season to season 1.
NYU, Lonnie! He's wanted to go to NYU since he was 6 years old!
So then he goes to NYU!
You would think that you're watching a different show. Parenthetical derogatory. Number 15, one thing the Duffer Brothers are gonna do is lie. Most brutal season yet, they said. A dark, dark Christmas, they said. I'm getting war flashbacks to when I critiqued them doing this exact same thing in season 4 because they did this exact same thing with season 4. No one's safe. No one's safe. There's gonna be multiple major character deaths. And then it was just Eddie. He basically died literally for nothing. And I know you said you're not Westeros, but why are you Barbie Land? Why are you Barbie Fairytopia? Why are you Pixie Hollow? They said Barb, like her body or as a concept, was gonna be showing up at the end. Never happened. They said we'd find out the great mystery to who opened the door season 1, episode 1 of the show. Never ever happened. 16. Last and maybe least, I don't know, depends who you ask. The visual effects this season. Holy shit, and once again, it's giving Marvel Phase 4. Just putting side-by-side shots of Max in the Upside Down, season 4 through season 5, there's a marginal difference. The entirety of the finale taking place inside of a Linkin Park music video. It starts with one thing, I don't know why. We're bordering Shark Boy and Lava Girl territory. Half of $1 billion. You could... We all died in 2020 and this is hell.
The cutest couple there was, I'm tempted to do one of these.
Ooh, what?
Oh!
All right, that's good. No.
Okay.
I think go back to couple.
Definitely not. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. They're the best couple. Yeah.
So then they killed Byler. And the Duffers' justification? Well, they never got their crushes in high school to like them back. That's the real reason. Every other character in this show gets a love interest. His science teacher gets one. Argyle gets one. His abusive father gets one. Having the continuously oppressed, abused, and tortured character who gets the absolutely worst treatment time and time again, only to end up 1. Forced into coming out, 2. Because of his abuser, 3. In a room full of people, 4. Half of whom he barely knows, 5. In the 80s, 6. In front of the love of his life, 7. Reducing years of loving him to him being a meaningless crush that he got over in the last 24 hours apparently off screen. 8. To elicit 0 reaction from Mike. 9. Producing this bullshit ass Disney Channel reaction from the crowd. And 10. All whilst never saying the words, I am gay. I just think it's interesting how they repeatedly use the use of homophobic slurs in this show, but no one ever says gay or lesbian. Even Noah knew that that Radio Rebel reaction scene was not gonna be good.
I gotta be honest, the like, when everyone had to be like, and it won't, and me, and me, and me, I was like, is that gonna work?
And I know y'all can write a good coming out scene because you did it with Robin. The primary root, probably the thing that I'm most upset about here after the group come out flop, is number 7, reducing Will's feelings for Mike very abruptly to meaning nothing at all. And of course I've seen the rhetoric of the straight people who are all, oh well see, Will's queerness never had anything to do with Mike. See, cause they just said. No, because they just decided. As I said in video 1 of the saga, they had the choice and the chance to make Will's love not revolve around having to do with Mike. I agree. But then they did. Over and over for 4 seasons straight. And up till 24 hours before this scene, at which point Will was and had been canonically in love with Mike. He definitely still is. Who said that? Finn Wolfhard himself framed Will's feelings for Mike as love. Quote, beautiful love.
Any clues as to how Mike will handle that?
But actually, suddenly it's nothing. Will also compared a situation with Mike to Vicky at the start of Volume 2, and not one day later, he off-screen decides it's over because of a vision that Vecna showed him that we, the audience, never get to see. My brother, the original Byler doubter, said the sudden turnaround felt like Will deciding that for himself, because in his brain, that's what he decided he had to do to move forward. He thinks going into this final battle that to have any of these emotional wounds or vulnerabilities will make him weaker or a target. And that actually aligns perfectly with Will's character, because he says it himself to Mike in season 4 that he would rather rip off that band-aid of losing him. Why write in the signals scene and the how obvious dialogue, the avalanche metaphor, him being so hopeful 18 months post breaking down in the van? And even though they laid out Mike's major significance to Will and their repeated likeness to the Robin and Vicky narrative down to the camera work, in an instant that's all undone. Even in Will's final scene with Mike, their conversation parallels the final conversation that Vicky and Robin have at the end of season 4.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That came out weird.
That came out wrong.
I didn't mean it like, what are you doing here?
Or not came out wrong.
Yeah, I didn't take it as anything negative. Okay, good.
Jesus Christ, it's okay.
And that's after going out of their way to make Mike not a hallway crush, but the love of Will's life, and his lifelong best friend. Mike is the only person besides Joyce that Will could remember when he was possessed. Mike is the one to recognize the sound of Will's breathing over walkie-talkie, the person he tells his secrets to, the person in his tapes, the person who gave him superpowers. Mike would have rather believed that there was an alternate mirror dimension than that Will was gone. But that's what he's reduced to here. And much like olive oil at the grocery store, I don't buy it. Them not being together was sad, but a possibility I was ready to accept at the end. But having Will call him his Tammy,
come by and shoot me in the head.
After eliciting the opposite your entire series. You just establish how critically important they are to each other. Matt and Ross Duffer when they come by and shoot me in the head. So you can switch up now, say he's Tammy and that it didn't mean anything, but frankly that's not what the fuck you spent the last 8 years showing us. In fact, you mirrored the Tammy monologue specifically to Mike and Eleven. The fact of the matter is they decided to suddenly contradict the writing that they previously established. Why? I would argue cowardice. The setup was there, and all of the many things and pieces of evidence that we pointed out in the Byler Chronicles exists and was real and happened. It's actually really sad Stranger Things got cancelled after season 4. Regardless, it comes as a slap to the face to the many people they lured into being invested into this narrative, encouraged to keep watching for the payoff, and to the characters themselves.
I don't think you're gonna think it's gross when you fall in love.
I'm not gonna fall in love.
Will's feelings specifically waited on till the last second of the show to be minimized. And yeah, since we're here, I'll take the bullet. It's queerbait. It is, definitionally. Queerbaiting is a marketing or narrative tactic in media where creators hint at, tease, or imply queer romance or identity without ever making it explicit or fulfilling the promise, attracting LGBTQ+ fans or allies while avoiding alienating homophobic audiences. To build up the narrative for a decade, advertise it as a satisfying conclusion, and then retroactively decide right at the end that actually none of it mattered, is crazy. Oh my god, look at our representation, dog. Trump's America, fuck. So you can imagine my horror when I found out that that quick 60-second scene in the finale of Mike telling Will that they're still gonna be friends after his coming out, that only exists because Noah Schnapp had to beg the Duffer brothers to write it. They were dead ass never going to have Mike speak to Will ever again after that coming out scene. Now, but for all my predictions, right? Like, holy fuck. I was preparing for the worst. I was preparing for Mike rejecting Will. Never did I consider the possibility. They never address Will's love for him. He never finds out about the... And I think you can't, it makes sense. You can't have Will temporarily die or bring into the narrative that he's gonna die without simultaneously addressing what that would mean for Mike.
It was the best thing I've ever done.
The same way that you can't bring up the painting. Well, we'll just have to abandon both of the the series-long arcs for Will's character, because there's no way to address them without also addressing Mike's feelings back. And they still don't. Even in that last scene, Mike's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were gay. No, not friends. Extended pause. Best friends. Oh, like they hate us. Oh, they hate us. He never finds out. There's no communication between the Tammy thing. They don't even talk about that. Mike doesn't find out that Will was in love with him. He doesn't know about the painting. He doesn't know that the one I love you he was able to deliver to his girlfriend was a lie based on the painting that he has hung above his bed in the epilogue that he still thinks is from Will. By making Will's love for Mike a culminating plot point in an arc that's lasted over 6 years, you bring in an audience who wants to see that pay off in some kind of way.
That's what's so beautiful and real about our show is like the slow burn is how real life happens. Like it doesn't happen in an instant. So to finally get there after waiting 10 years is like, oh.
But you chose to drag it out season after season, treating it as a major plot arc and potential spoiler.
You should know that Will is not interested in Elle. He's interested in someone else in the group.
Yeah, and you'll see soon that he's interested in.
He's very interested.
Yeah.
You never shut down the possibility like the Wednesday writers did with Enid and Wednesday, or like you did with Nancy and Robin. But you actively teased fans about it and told them they should stick around because it's worth the payoff.
How is he this clueless right now? What with the Will scene, like in the car, I was like, what? How? I remember asking the Duffers, like, why would he not know? And they're like, don't worry, it'll pay off in the end.
Only to wait to the second to last episode to tell fans, actually just kidding, and the reason Will's love is retconned is because of a revelation that happened off screen from a vision that you will never see. And that's after you blatantly lied about plot points like the painting coming back. They said, how about we set up multiple Chekhov's guns and then we turn around and shoot you in the head. They also purposely kept Malevin's relationship status ambiguous, both at the end of season 4 and throughout volumes 1 and 2 of season 5. The sun is rising on me because I went to film this at 5 a.m. The dedication to the craft. To the point where their own fans of Mike and Eleven, thought something was wrong or off. And that's all while establishing these ongoing plot points of giving Will and the audience a retrospectively nasty sense of false hope. You weave in plot points about signals and building feelings and their shared looks and their bumping elbows. While they're doing all this stuff, you have Mike and Will's tapes, the flashback scenes, orchestral sun-soaked sorcerer declarations, them saving each other with the same memory, but proceed to go nowhere in service of a suddenly down our throat level of Malevin in the finale. No wonder why the Byler fall-off gave me such whiplash. These fools sat around the table read for Sorcerer thinking Byler's gonna happen because they also had no fucking clue. They've known in the script that Will had feelings for Mike since the season 2 snowball. They proceeded to let that fester for 4 seasons, hinting at, teasing at, implying and advertising, only to be nothing in service of your homophobic audiences. And saying that after you were going to have Will come out to Mike just in the van scene in season 4, but then deciding to draw out the self-inflicted rejection until the public floppery at the end of the next and final season. And all while disgustingly, these two straight men never had a single intention to even address Will's love for Mike as existing.
Hell no, man. What the fuck?
But I, as your queer fan, should be so happy and so grateful for that representation. Good guys, another story about how queer people never get to find love. I should be so grateful to the Duffer Brothers. It didn't need to be about Mike. If this was the direction you're going in, you could have shut it down at any point. Instead, you used it as an advertising tactic, only to essentially rub our noses in shit at the finish line. And then to write off Vicky with no explanation at all. The implication that your only other queer couple broken up off screen at the last second too. Robin says we're gonna go on a date at the end of the season. Also, Max and Lucas get to, Joyce and Hopper get to go on the date they talked about. But not only do Robin and Vicky never get to go on the date, but they're also broken up with no explanation as to why. What is your problem? Genuinely. And then they had him take out his earring from the epilogue scene. They nerfed his voluminous, beautiful hair as well. Conformity's killing the kids, said the Duffer Brothers, giving literally every character a conformist ending. And this... It's actually gonna be some slop. This is actually gonna be some more poop from a butt, except this time it's diarrhea. It's a bit more of a liquid consistency. And to think when the scene began, I was so excited. Because I thought Will was gonna be coming out to Joyce and only Joyce, which would have made way more sense. And guess what? In an interview post-show, the Duffer Brothers reveal that actually, that is exactly what was gonna happen. And originally when they wrote the scene, it was just Joyce. Even when Mike walked into the room, which is just a choice to send him in, I thought, oh my god, okay, well, he'll come out to Joyce and he'll tell the truth of his feelings to Mike. It would have been still like a beautifully intimate moment. And then especially if you could have like added Jonathan. The show just made a point to show us in his tapes that Jonathan, Mike, and Joyce are the most important people to him. Mind you, they're sitting there like, who the fuck is Tammy? Jonathan doesn't even know that Will has powers, as far as we know in this scene. Collie's like, okay, man, it's cool that you're gay, but I need to die. They've lobotomized Mike Wheeler into a permanent state of ID gaffedness. And now, he could not be in this scene. He could not be in this volume, and it would practically make no difference. Season 2, or even Season 4 Mike, would not have been learning that Will was gay and had feelings for him. Deadpan mogging. As well, 5th in line for Radio Rebel. Suddenly, after their adorable hug in Volume 2, Mike has to flinch his hands away every time they come near Will. It's so odd. They were cutting the footage in editing to make it look like he wasn't touching Will. I thought they were building up Mike to be sort of emotionally avoidant of his own feelings and repressing a lot of what was going on this season, and that would culminate in like a great emotional breakthrough. But it turns out his zeroed reaction to his parents' near slaughter, his sister's kidnapping, Eleven's being trapped in the Upside Down, and now this isn't because he's bottling his feelings. It's just because he has none. So he really is just obliviously egotistical, bordering homophobic to Will in Season 3 and unable to touch him in Season 4, as well as a consistently terrible boyfriend to Jane for just no reason. This is what they want for his character. Mike Wheeler, alone and miserable, looking just like his evil father. When you have him accost Will saying, what did you think, really? That we were just gonna sit in my basement all day and play games for the rest of our lives? Then you have Will move on and try to do other things with his life, and it's Mike who's moping and wants to sit around in the basement playing games because he's stuck in the past. The waste of potential with this character is devastating to me on a personal level that I could never describe. 1 in 5 queer people, adults, never come out. They spend their whole life in the closet. Michael Wheeler, welcome to the statistic. Mike Wheeler was sidelined in his own show years ago, and he has no emotional depth since then because they just didn't care to make him care. Hilariously, also in refusing to address the narrative, you've left open threads to the story that in fact only solidify to me the premise of a closeted Mike Wheeler. Byler's status remains semi-canonical. I'm gonna be sick! They can't not have chemistry. Like, it's actually laughable, even in that tower scene. Straight boy Mike Wheeler, how do you know the terminology coming out? Why are you getting so nervous and stumbling over your words about it? Why are you shy? Shout out to this look as well.
I believe.
Mike's imaginary boyfriend for Will looks and dresses like him. And then they have Will and Mike leave the basement last. And Mike looks very obviously at Will's, runs his hand down their spines, and then breaks down in tears before ascending into the blue and yellow lighting. My legs hurt! And fun fact, they had Finn reshoot that scene because his fingers kept trailing too much. He was touching Will's binder too much. Mike Wheeler, you are going to hear Good Luck Babe by Chapel Roan come on the radio in 30 years time, and you will drive your car off the road. And plus, the ending is whatever we want. Right, guys? That's what you said? Even the other one, Matt Duffer, his current wife, said that she wished Mike and Will got together. Well, at least they made getting over the show an easy one. With that in mind, thanks! Thank you so much to everybody who's joined me on this journey. Sincerely thank you to the Byler fandom. This is genuinely the funniest fucking fandom I have ever had the unfortunate displeasure to suffer alongside. And thank you patrons for making all this happen. Yes, if we get queerbaited, we get queerbaited together.